this time to sit there and smile and.
Hello, welcome to Travel Talk Tuesday live with Lainey Melnick, owner of Dream Vacations in the Westlake area of Austin, Texas, and my fabulous co-host Charlie the Traveler, who is one of our tour suppliers who has tours all over the world. Today we are talking about Sri Lanka.
That is definitely off the beaten path, but a beautiful place nonetheless. Definitely an much underrated country.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about it because it is very unknown, that people don't even know where in the world it is, and there's so much we can tell them. Before we get started, though, let me just do a little housekeeping. If you'd like to scan the QR code up in the corner, that takes you to all of my links, the Travel with Lainey websites. We stream across Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. So please follow us on any platform. And you can also enter to win our quarterly contest. And this quarter, I'm giving away an Italian land vacation. So it's a little different than my usual, and it's a great vacation to win. So please scan and enter to win. In addition, on any of our platforms that we stream on, if you put hashtag Travel Talk Tuesday on any comments, we will give you a $50 gift certificate towards any Charlie the Traveler tour anywhere in the world that you book through my agency, Lainey Melnick Dream Vacations in Austin, Texas. And behind the scenes, we have Alex helping me out and Evelyn helping Charlie. So we are all set here to give you a great show.
So you just said a minute ago, and people don't even know where Sri Lanka is.
Yes.
Now, what if I told you it's not that far from the Maldives? You see, now people are like, okay, now I got it.
I don't even think they know where the Maldives are, so I'm not sure that would help. But it's in Asia, right, off of India.
Okay, yeah, it's right below India. I mean, it's just right below India. But Maldives is a big destination for people.
Yeah.
A lot of women's dream vacation or honeymoon spot or whatever. And it can be a destination unto itself, or it can be coupled with a place like India or the Maldives or the Seychelles also. It's that kind of part of the world that people are going to.
Yes, and I have a great video on the Maldives. I went to 3 fabulous islands there with over-the-water bungalows. So if you want to know all about that, definitely visit my YouTube channel. But Charlie and I can help you in that entire region, and you can hop around. It takes a little time to get there. So sometimes it's nice to take the time to get there and then really explore the area before coming home.
Yeah, I haven't been there, but
you have to go.
Well, you gotta bring a nice girl with you. So find me one. But sure,
I went alone. Let me just say.
Okay, that's not very common. But Sri Lanka, I know inside and out. So we'll talk all about it.
Yeah, one of my good friends, it was a news anchor in Sri Lanka, and he's now an American. But yeah, he loves Sri Lanka and raves about how fabulous it is.
Yeah, definitely underrated destination. So you fly in and out of Colombo, and that's the capital city. It does have British heritage to the country, so it's not too different from what you'd find in India in terms of like what the British did there and everything else. The nature is fantastic. It really is. And you're going to basically go on day one from Colombo. We pick you up and we take you to this ancient city. Good luck trying to pronounce it, but it's a Polonnaruwa. So it's this basically archaeological site with beautiful statues and all this kind of stuff. Depending on what time you arrive, we make a stop beforehand to get you some lunch or dinner. So there's some jet lag and stuff like that, because you just did say that it's a
very
trip.
long flight. Yeah.
So that's kind of thing.
And this is an island. I just want to make sure everybody understands Sri Lanka is an island destination.
Indeed. And what's kind of weird about it is you think that it's one island, so there's a perfect time of the year to visit, because it's just one island, right? But the way it's set up over there, just the land formation, everything else in the mountains, it's actually kind of split. So it's kind of like one side of the island is better during a certain type of year. The other time is for the other part of the year. So
Ah,
there's technically no perfect time when you're taking to one part of the island. We take you to both sides. Um, there's going to be an on and off season. So no matter when you go, you're going to hit destinations that are quote unquote on the off season, just depending whether you're on the west side of the island or the eastern part of the
I
island.
see.
So I just tell people go when you can go. Um,
And that is, let me just say, it's one of the great things about working with Charlie and his tours. There are no set dates. We can work around your schedule whenever you want to go somewhere, you want to leave on this date. For the most part, that works really well with his tours, and we can customize each to your needs.
Indeed. This one is a purely private tour. We kind of differ from country to country. Some it's a hybrid where it's shared with other travelers and then private. This one's just a purely private tour. And it really depends more on how the country is set up than like the policy of our company. So Sri Lanka is very much set up on a private basis. So that means you have your own escort driver, you've got your own private car, and you're taken from spot to spot. The only time that you're not in a private car is for this famous train ride, which I'll talk about in a minute.
All righty.
So on the day two, you see that ancient city that I just talked about. They got a bunch of cool archaeological sites and that kind of thing. You also go on a guided bike tour from the different spots within this archaeological park. And after you've had your fun with this bike tour, you obviously have a tour guide for that thing. You're not going by yourself. We're taking you to this national park, Minneriya. And you got like elephants and all kinds of beautiful things over there. You go on a 4x4 safari. It feels very similar to being on a safari in Africa, to be honest with you. I've done the ones in Africa. I've done the one there. They feel very similar.
So it's similar to do an Indian safari where you have more tigers and elephants.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just spent a lot of time in India. Southern India is more similar to Sri Lanka than it is to northern India. It almost feels like southern India and Sri Lanka are like one country. Northern India is like a different country. It feels like that. How people eat, how they dress, the dialect, the landscape, it's something like this. So the south of India and Sri Lanka are really famous for the animals.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. And then basically at the end of that second day, we take you to this destination called Sigiriya. And that's where they have this crazy rock that's just huge. And the next day you're going to go hiking in it. But this thing's very imposing. So unsurprising, in ancient times, they really saw it as a religious monument. And, it was set up there by the gods. And then they would go to the top of it. In the same way, like in the Acropolis in Greece, they would, build something there to kind of like communicate with the gods above. They did the same thing in Sri Lanka. So that's why on the third day, you're going to go hiking. It's not that bad, though. The hike's actually not that bad at all. So it's about a 45-minute hike. You're up to the top. Once you get to the top of that rock, you got a full view of the surroundings. Really beautiful. It's one of those famous things to do in Sri Lanka. There's a second rock, really not that far. You can actually see it from the first place we take you to. Upon request, you can also hike that second one. So you get a little bit of a different view. Other people are like, you know what, I just did one hike, I'm done. Other people are like, no, I want both. We give you the option. There's no additional charge if you want to go up both of these. It just depends on how strong you are and how much interest you have in hiking to the top of these rocks to get the famous views.
So you're not hiking with wildlife. There's not monkeys around, or it's really just on a barren rock kind of formation.
Yeah, this one is more about the landscape, the surrounding landscape. Day two is where you see like the elephants and some other crazy animals. Day three is about the hike to this one famous rock to get view. And then if you got the energy, then we'll take you to one other spot to get also beautiful views.
Okay.
So that's kind of what happens. After that, you have lunch because you're gonna be hungry and a little bit tired, so you have some lunch. you're then taken to Dambulla Cave Temple. So this isn't a real cave, and they've got statues like Buddha statues and this kind of stuff. That is really, really good in Sri Lanka. Some of the best I've seen anywhere in, we'll call it the Buddhist world, in Hindu world. They have both religions there. Hindu is more prevalent, but inside these temples, they carved out statues and they really dress up, and their whole ambiance is very like very strong. You go inside and you feel the spirituality very strongly. And I could just tell you this. I think the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life was not inside Dambulla Cave Temple. It was right when I was leaving it to get to the next spot. I was passing through this village, and I just said to my escort driver, I said, "What's this?" And he said, "Let's just stop and check it out." So what's this? Okay. And, you know, just when you think you've seen it all, you realize you've seen nothing. So Anthony Bourdain actually did a show on this, what I'm about to tell you. What it is like, you know how Catholics for Easter, they will make like they're supposed to make like a sacrifice to Jesus, right? Like to show that they're devout Christians, and they will take some food they like or something they like to drink or something they like to do, and they will deprive themselves of that just to show, hey, I'm a devout Christian and I'll make a sacrifice for you.
Right.
You know, and it's not going to hurt me because I'm strong and I'm devout, right? Okay, well, Sri Lankans also have something like that, but on a whole different level, okay? So what they do, all men do this, by the way, the women don't do this. They pierce hooks through their mouth and through their stomach, and they are hooked up, completely hooked up. And they've got, you sound like you're in pain, my gosh.
I am thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, this is crazy stuff. So, I mean, there's no guarantee you're going to see this kind of thing. But they do this. So basically, you're all hooked up and you are on like a plywood. So the plywood is connected to a car. Then you got this plywood thing, or like basically like a tree kind of like trunk type thing. And you're sitting there hanging. And the idea is if you don't feel pain, you're devout. I mean, because you're the real deal. You believe, and you know you're strong. You don't feel that pain, and you're doing it to show your loyalty to the gods. And they've got it through their lips, through their ears, through everything. It looks like a crucifixion. And then if that's not enough, what they do is the car starts driving around the village, and everybody's like running with the car.
Oh, wow.
And on top of that, they take these, they call them medicines. I call them drugs. Okay. And I had never seen nothing like that, where they will go and they are like, I mean, it looks like a rock concert or something. Just people are just like drugged out type of thing, but they're basically going and they're just running around, and people kind of have to like capture them because they're really hallucinating. So you're not going to see this in California or in Texas, you know what I mean? So this
maybe in California.
Well, yeah, you may be right there.
So what time of year is this, or is it a specific holiday they're celebrating?
They have it at different times of the year. Our summers, you'll see it then. But they will do it for different celebrations. It's not just once a year they do it. And it's not like Easter, like we have Easter in April. They have a little bit broader. But yeah, and you know, it could be because you're passing through a lot of villages, right? Because we're taking land tours to get you all throughout the island. So you're passing through a lot of villages. Hopefully you're able to see something like that. But there's nowhere else in the world I've seen anything like that, like, oh my God moment. That was probably the number one oh my God moment in my life.
Wow.
Yeah. Just seeing all these people seemingly crucified type of thing.
Wow.
Um, yeah, yeah. So
I mean,
uh,
that's one of the great things about traveling all over the world is to experience other cultures and to see how society is around the world. Like, it does open your eyes.
mhm. Yeah, you go to a place like Sri Lanka because you're going to want to see something off the beaten path. You're going to want to see stuff you're not going to see anywhere else. I mean, you could also see this in southern India, but other than that's it. That's
Mm.
it. There's some place also in Indonesia, but you're not going to be able to go anywhere to see this kind of thing. So
And
that's
for
what it is.
those strange fans of ours who want to actually experience this themselves, can they hook their
No,
bodies? No,
no,
no.
no. I'm sorry. No. Okay. No. And if they want to try the drinks and medicine, no, we don't. We'll throw them off the tour. Sorry. Um, but at least I'm honest with it because like I mean I have to keep our
Mhm.
customers safe. That's
Yes.
that's the first. I mean, fun and excitement. This is our second priority, right? The
Yeah.
first one is to make sure they're safe. So imagine they're taking some of these medicines that these guys are taking. They have a seizure, something. We don't want our
Mm,
customers to have these kind of problems. But let other
right.
people do it and just film it and have your fun. That's kind of the thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. I mean, this is a challenge we have when you have clients who really want to run with the bulls, or they want to do the extreme dangerous activities around the world. It's hard for us. It puts us in a bad situation to be liable for you.
Yeah, I mean, if there's things like a bungee jumping or paragliding or this stuff, we of course, we'll say
Yeah.
let's go do it. You know what I mean? No problem. But when it comes to
Mhm.
like this level, where your like body's getting pierced and
Yeah.
you're drinking this stuff where you're going to hallucinate, it's like no, no, sorry, you know, I don't want some attorney being calling me at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that is what
Okay.
that is. So anyway, um, now what happens is after the Dambulla Cave, we take you to another temple. Um, all these temples and everywhere else they're all guided. Okay. Um, and at the end of day 3, you're taken to the city called Kandy. That's where the hotel is. That's where you're sleeping on day 3.
Mm.
Um, and that's kind of what day 3 looks like here. On day 4, it started with a trip to this temple called Temple of the Tooth. It also looks kind of different from the other temples. After that temple, we take you to the Royal Botanical Gardens. That was created by the British. So it until now looks very British style.
Mm.
The same way, like if you go to England, you see how the botanical gardens look there. They're very well preserved and they're kept in their original state. So expect British style gardens over there.
So, with the hotel kind of level, are we talking
5 star.
something that Americans will understand as 4 and 5 star?
Oh yeah, no. These are very nice hotels. These are
Okay.
very nice hotels. And I'll tell you this, like I just got back from India. The best hotels I ever stayed in my life, Dubai. But second
Yeah.
Dubai, the best hotels I've stayed anywhere on this planet, India. Okay.
Yeah.
So in Sri Lanka, it's similar in the sense that um, it feels like royalty. That's what it's like. Like these 5 star hotels they got there. I mean, you got people that are dressed up very professionally, and you're treated like a king type of thing. Um,
So there's a large difference between the castes in India with the poverty and the wealthy. Do you see that in Sri Lanka, or is it more? Is it less of a third world feeling when you're there?
um, you feel it less because it's much more nature based destination than city
Mm,
based. Because usually when people go to India, they're heading to the north. Like that triangle,
right.
Jaipur, Udaipur, Delhi, all that. So
Mm,
Sri Lanka, I mean, we do also take you to cities, right? So I had just mentioned Kandy as an example, and also you're
right.
flying in and out of Colombo. But when you leave Sri Lanka, you're going to be thinking more about the nature
Mm.
than you are about the cities. Whereas in India, you're going to be thinking more about the cities and the nature. So with this caste system and the disparity and part of this and that, you're going to feel it where there's stronger populations, right?
I gotcha.
So yeah, if you're in the streets of Delhi, you're
Mhm.
like, okay, I see all this stuff. Sri Lanka, you're very much out in the nature, so you got a
Mm.
lot of room to breathe and this kind of stuff. So no, it doesn't feel so strong there at all.
Okay, that's good.
Um, so anyway, so now you've seen the Royal Botanical Gardens. Of course, there are going to be differences from Sri Lanka and England because of the landscapes. You got stuff that looks more tropical.
Mm.
Um, but after seeing the botanical gardens and Kandy, the city, you're taken to this tea factory. And now I'm mentioning the tea because if you know nothing else about Sri Lanka, hopefully people know at least about the tea there.
Mm.
So a lot of these coffee shops that we go to, Coffee Bean, Starbucks, and whatever, go look at the packets where these teas are made. We take you there in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka has some of the most famous tea plantations on earth.
Hmm. Is
So
that because of the weather there?
yeah. hmm
Yeah.
So the tea plantations in India are also very famous,
Mm.
but Sri Lanka is kind of like when you say like I'm drinking Sri Lanka tea. This is kind of like one of the most famous in the world.
Mm.
So and the landscape there is just absolutely gorgeous to look at.
Mm.
Um, so you go and you see all that stuff. At the end of the day, we take you to Adams Peak. You sleep near to Adams Peak. Um, the fifth day, we wake up nice and early, and you hike this thing. This one's kind of a hit or miss. It's often foggy. Some months are better than other months, obviously. Um, if there's fog, there's fog. If there's not, then getting up to the top there and getting a view is really beautiful.
Mm.
It's over 2,000 meters tall, this thing. So
Mm.
if you get there, there's no fog and you see the sunrise. It's like, it's a hiker's fantasy, basically.
So you're
Um,
getting up really early if you're doing a sunrise.
exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. So that's why on the fourth evening, we try to get you to Adams Peak relatively early so you can go to bed early, wake up the next morning, do this hike. Hopefully, there's not much fog. You get a beautiful view. You go back to the hotel, then you have some time to rest and things like that.
Mm.
Um, you have breakfast, you take a shower, you check out, all this stuff. And then what we do is take you to this place called Nura Elia. You have some lunch over there, and then you're taken to this train ride. So you go from Nura Elia to Ella. So remember I told you like this whole thing's a private tour with private cars?
Right.
This is the exception because that train ride is really famous and it goes through really beautiful landscape.
So this is similar to the luxury trains. I can't. Oh my gosh, I can't think of the name. The Orient Express.
I wouldn't say the train itself is so luxurious.
Mm.
It's more of the scenery. So, and
Ah,
it's
okay.
not like we're choosing a cheaper train than the other train. The trains are all the kind of the same, um, but it's where you're going and what you're seeing along the way. Because technically, we could take you with a car, right? But the experience of this specific train ride is really special,
Ah, okay.
and that's why we do it. And then basically, the car goes there anyways. So it's the same car and driver
Mm.
who's dropping you off. You're taking the train. He's driving to your next spot, what's called Ella, and that's where your hotel is, anyways. But we want you to take the train because you have a better experience on the train, just
Right.
for that portion.
It's similar to Alaska Rail or to going through the Alps. You know, the train ride is the experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So at the end of that fifth day, you're sleeping in Ella. Um, the sixth day, we're going to relocate again. That is one thing about Sri Lanka, and there's no way around it. There's a lot of relocating of hotels.
Mm.
You know, it would be nice if we could just base ourselves in one or two places and you make day trips. There's no way around it. So if you don't
Mm.
like that, we can go slower or we can see fewer places. But most people, when they go there, they're like, no, I want to see it all. So if you want to see all the hot spots, it's a 10-day tour, 10 days, 9 nights. It just, because of the logistics of how the island's set up and the infrastructure and everything else, we do need to change hotels a lot.
So how big an island is this from one side to the other?
Well, we go little by little.
Mm.
You know, we're going, so these drives that we're doing, 3 hours, 4 hours, stuff like
Mm.
that. Um, so we try not to go too much, but you can see it's far enough to where we can't just go make a day trip. You're going in a
Right.
loop type of thing. So
Okay.
um, on the 6th day, we're relocating to another town, um, Katarmaga. Good luck on that one too. But there's a lot of stops that we make along the way. So, and this is the case for a lot of the days. So on the 6th day, there's like this really pretty bridge that we take to, and we take you this bridge, and there's this like antique train that passes by. So
Mm,
it comes at a certain time. So we make sure to take you at the right time, so you can see this thing that passes by. Um, and then we take you on a little hike. It's called Little Adams Peak. So it's a smaller version of what you should have done the day before.
mm.
It's also got some beautiful landscape once you see the view from above. The hike in total, up and down and spending some time, there's just a couple of hours. So this isn't a crazy like Himalayan type of hike or something like that. This is
Right.
not too bad. Adams hike is the big one. Um, there's another temple that we take you to on that particular day. It's got this like granite rock face of a Buddhist image and stuff. So
Mm,
they really did a nice job on sculpting statues into rocks, similar to what they did in India and China. Same kind of
mm.
style like that. There's also a waterfall that we take you on that day. Um, some caves that we take you to on that day. So there's a lot of spots and changing of landscape. So you're not going to be bored on this day.
So when you're visiting the temples, do you have to cover shoulders and knees? Is it those types of visits?
Um, yeah, they basically, there's like a little rope thing that you can bring with you inside there. Yeah.
Mhm.
And you could buy, I mean, at almost every site, they have these things where you can buy them and they're really cheap. Um,
Right. Like kind of like a poncho thing. I think I had to buy that in Rome, or I
yeah,
can't remember where.
yeah, yeah, for a couple bucks or whatever. Yeah. You
Mm.
buy it and then you could bring it with you for the whole day or the whole trip or whatever.
And are you going in the water for the waterfalls, or is it just you're looking?
You're looking on this one.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what that is. Um, but it's a pretty one for sure. Um, on the 7th day, it's basically you're sleeping at a place near to Yala National Park on that 6th night. The 7th day is when you're going on that safari
Mm.
at Yala National Park. It is the most visited park in Sri Lanka. So Yala National Park is to Sri Lanka, like Kruger Park is to South Africa.
And do
Uh,
they have the lodges inside the parks like they do in South Africa?
they have them. Well, actually, they're right outside of it,
Mm.
just barely outside of it. But you're going to see a lot of crazy. You're going to see elephants. Hopefully, you see leopards. It's harder to see the leopards. Obviously, you go in the morning, you have better chances. There's all kinds of birds that you see over there. Um, it is a beautiful sight.
I love safaris. It's one of my favorite things.
Um, then after that, we take you for lunch, um, and then we take you to this place, Weligama, and what you have there is called stilt fishing. Do you know
Hmm.
what that is? Stilt fishing?
I don't.
It's okay. So if you just put Sri Lanka travel on Google, this is going to be one of like the iconic images of Sri Lanka. Um, what that is you have these people and they kind of have this like turban thing on their head, and then they're basically standing, we'll say, or kind of like squatting, something like that, on like a stick, and then they got a spear, and they're
Oh,
basically
okay. I think
they're
I've seen
waiting for
that.
the fish, pop, boom. Um,
Yes.
so that's what stilt fishing is.
So you're taking people to try it themselves, or you're watching people do it?
Watching it. If
Okay,
you want,
just checking.
if you want to try it, yeah, just those guys are calm. They're cool. If you want to say, hey, can I try it? They'll say, yeah, go for it. Especially if you give them like a couple bucks or something, they'll say, yeah, no problem. But yeah, I mean, this is a tradition that they've had for forever.
Hmm.
So going there to see these guys doing it is a very pretty scene for sure. Something just like unique.
Hmm.
Um, then we take you to this somewhat colonial city of Gale. It's again got that British influence and stuff. It's got some British architecture. There's a handful of worthwhile monuments to see. I'm not going to say it's like the prettiest city, but it is cool to see like a few things. It's got like a fort over there. If you're lucky, they got a baseball game. This is one of the most famous places in Sri Lanka to watch. Not baseball. I'm sorry. Oh my god.
Soccer?
No. The British they play the
Oh, with the paddle?
yes.
I can't think of what it's called.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're on a beat right now. Cricket.
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 Yes, people will be commenting. It's cricket, silly. Yeah.
Yeah, cricket. Thank you. So not baseball. I'm sorry. Cricket. So basically, it's funny because you have to pay to get into the stadium to watch the cricket, but 90 something percent just go to the fort, and then they basically sit at the fort and they can see the same exact game. So, so they're all watching the game from the fort itself, and it's more fun watching the locals react than watching cricket itself. At least for people who didn't grow up watching cricket.
Yeah.
But it is a big game over them because of the British influence. You know, they kind of left that on them. And then lastly, we take you to a place called Hikkaduwa. That's where the hotel is. And it once was like a hotspot for hippies to kind of hang out and this kind of stuff. Now it's got nice resorts. And this is true for a lot of places in India, Sri Lanka, Southeast Asia. They all kind of start off as these like little hippie hotspots, and then they became so popular that all of a sudden now they got these beautiful resorts. You also see a lot of signs in Russian. There's a lot of rich Russian people that will go over there. So yeah,
Interesting.
it's become like a richer with nice hotels and all this kind of stuff. And the waters are pretty interesting, to be honest with you, because I'd never seen waves like this. So like usually you see waves over there that just come and then they crash and then they go. And then here's the next one, right? They have almost this like fizzle thing, almost like a club soda where it's constantly going, you know? And I just looked at it. I just said like, I don't know how to describe, like I haven't, like the wave comes, goes. They didn't. It's almost like a cycle kind of thing over there.
Interesting.
But the beach itself, it's nice and it's just got a good feel to it. And it's very different from everything that we've shown you until then, right? Because beforehand it's temples and caves and all that. Now you're at the beach and you're hanging out at the beach. It's a good break from all this other stuff that
Is it white sand?
it's more like red,
Ah.
which
And
again is similar to India. India and
yeah.
Sri Lanka, they have like a reddish tilt to it. So same thing like Goa, India, it looks more like that.
And what about like water sports or diving and that kind of stuff? Do you have any of that kind of activity normal there?
Yeah, they have all that stuff, but the one that we take you to is whale watching. Well, actually, it depends on the season. I'm sorry. So if you visit November through April, it's whale watching, and then that's kind of what we do. Then we also take you to this place to Marisa, and then like you see dolphins during that time. So it's whales and dolphins and that kind of stuff. If you're going from May to October, you have a little bit more free time, and that's when you do all these adventurous activities that you're just describing.
Okay.
You know, they have jet skiing and all this kind of stuff. Sometimes people want a little extra time by the beach, so they're going to say, hey, you know what? I know your tour's 10 days. Give me a couple more. Give me 12 because we want to go to the beach there, and we want to just kind of mess around and do water sports and just hang out with the family or whatever. And for us, it's no problem. Let's do it.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
That's kind of how we do that whole thing. So there's like a nice coral garden over there. There's like a coral sanctuary. You go snorkeling, all this kind of stuff. So that's kind of what you do there. The ninth day was one of my favorites, to be honest. We take you to this place called Madhu Ganga. And to be honest, not even a lot of natives know about this place, but it's beautiful nonetheless. You go on a wetland boat cruise, and it's got these mangroves and stuff like that, these untouched mangroves. And you have like basically just the landscape is really, really pretty when you go through there, and it's tight. So it's like you got the stuff in your face
Mm.
type of thing. And then we kind of take a break from there. We make a stop, and then there's like a place where they make cinnamon and cinnamon oil and all of that.
Mm.
And then after we're done showing you that, we take you to this turtle sanctuary. And you kind of learn about turtles and see the eggs, and depending on the season, of course.
Mhm.
And then after that, you're taken to a coastal town. You go have some lunch over there, and then we take you to another temple. And then we take you basically back to Colombo. After we've shown you some of these beautiful temples, we take you to Colombo, and there's a national museum over there. And it's got like crowns of the kings and all of this kind of stuff, of monarchs. It kind of tells you about the history of Sri Lanka and whatnot. And then we go to the hotel at the end of the day on the 9th evening. And then on the 10th day, basically, you can fly out, or if you've chosen to stay longer in Sri Lanka because A, you want more time at the beach, or B, you want to go at a slower pace because we're changing hotels a lot then. So that's kind of how Sri Lanka works.
And so, what kind of a price point would Sri Lanka be for people? Is there a single supplement on there if somebody wants to do it themselves because it's private?
The only single supplement that we charge is for lodging itself, right? Because, if a hotel, 5-star hotel, is a couple $100 a night,
Right.
if you're one person or two persons, it's almost the exact same price.
Right.
So if you and your buddy are splitting the cost, or if you're paying for it by yourself, it still costs the same. But in terms of the tour itself, no. And if you're a female and you prefer a female tour guides, we also provide that. Usually if it's a guy and girl, we'll provide like a male tour guide. But if it's just one girl or two girls or three girls, we generally like to provide female tour guides. We do this elsewhere as well, not only in Sri Lanka. But
And it's not because it's necessary because of the safety issue, right? It makes women, solo travelers feel more comfortable.
Like for conversation purposes. So if you're two girls with a guy, you're going to have a little bit less talk about. If you got another girl there, you kind of chat and, okay, so what are the guys like in your country? Ooh, what are the guys like in your country? Ooh, let me tell you, And
You know women so well. That's exactly what we talk about.
Okay, let me tell you what happened to my ex. All right, let me tell you what happened to mine. You know what I mean? Right, that kind of thing. So I got ears, girl. I got ears. So this tour here per person for the 10 days, including the 5-star hotels, we will provide 4-star if where we're taking you doesn't have 5-star. So we're still taking you to whatever the best hotel is in that particular area. But whenever they exist, we do take you to the 5 stars. It is $2,344 per person based on two people sharing the room, like the boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife type of thing. $2,344 USD.
And that does not include your international air. We do that separately. And Charlie and I can help you arrange that, of course, so that it's the right places that you're going to.
Exactly. Call Lainey, tell her what you need. She'll tell you the exact flights that you'll need. She'll take the stress out of your brain because just trying to go to Google yourself for something like Sri Lanka, it's going to take a little bit of brainstorming. Some places are easy. If you're going from LA to Cabo, it's easy. But something like this, you're going to need somebody who's got a little bit of experience in figuring it out.
And that's why Charlie chooses the destinations he chooses for his tours, is because he understands that some people really like to do it on their own and they want to do their own thing. But some places really need help and they need us to help with the logistics. It just takes the stress away for you and makes it a really enjoyable vacation. And he just fits in all of the highlights, the best value that you can get for the buck. I find that's why I love using Charlie.
So you kind of met it up, the safety and all this kind of stuff. It just indirectly came up in conversation right now. It's a very safe country. It's a very safe country. It doesn't mean nothing could ever happen, but it's not very common.
And it's not, and I'm not just talking about like pickpockets and things, but for maybe alligators, crocodiles, whatever, the very dangerous, poisonous wildlife. Sri Lanka is not really known for that.
No, and keep in mind again, because you're out in the nature so much, so you're, yeah, you're not really. You always have like people. You've got your 4x4 safari vehicle, or you got your driver, you got your guide, this and that. So um, it's not that hard to keep people safe over there. Um, it's good. I mean, one thing that you do got to be careful of is eating outside.
Mm,
Um, so we discourage it, similar to India, um, where it's like we have specific hotel recommend. I'm sorry, restaurant recommendations.
hmm.
You don't have to eat there. You can choose another place if you want. It's not like we make money from the hotels or something. So I'm sorry, from the restaurant. So you can eat wherever you
Yeah.
like, but we want to make sure that you're eating at very clean restaurants. Um, we're not your parents, so if you end up buying some food off the street or something, we're not going to stop you. But like we just generally discourage that. So you buy the water from your hotel. You're buying your food from high quality restaurants, and you're not just seeing something off the street and buying it, eating this type of thing. So that's most of the time the only safety concern
Mm.
that comes up, that people are kind of experimenting with stuff on street foods or at restaurants that are not so clean. Don't do it.
Well, this is common in many countries around the world. I mean, I would say even in America, but Mexico for sure. You just have to be careful about the water and the cleanliness of the food. I think that's common everywhere.
Yeah, so it's really just it's a practice. Like I mean, if as long as you just follow the rules,
Hmm.
you should be just fine. But if you get out and try to like experiment with it, then that's it. So safety, we're pretty solid over there. As you just heard, it's a relatively affordable country. It's really good
Hmm.
value. Um, and yeah, you're definitely going to need a car. So whether you're going with me and you, Lainey, or if
Hmm.
somebody's just going on their own, you're not going to be using trains and buses. Some people, especially like young backpackers, they
Hmm.
do try to do things by train.
Hmm.
Okay. And what we show you in 10 days will take them over 3 weeks because of using. But that's the thing. These really young people, they don't really have money. So they're like, I have the time. So if it takes me 3 weeks to see what
Hmm.
um, our company can see in 10 days, then, they'll do it. But yeah, to really see it, you're going to need a car.
Mm, okay, got it.
Um,
And they don't
people,
have like rideshare apps, commonly, right?
um, for inside the city, yeah. So if you need to get in Colombo and you want to go somewhere nearby, something like this. Um, I mean, yeah, they have drivers. It's easy to get driver, but to get like an English speaking driver who
Mm.
knows how to communicate and knows the country inside and out, that's harder. But if you just want to find some taxi driver, yeah, sure.
And is
Uh,
English pretty well known by everybody?
yeah, their English is not as good as in India.
Mm.
They speak it a little bit less, but to just have basic conversation, yeah. Um, basic conversation you can have, but if you go like into deeper stuff, then they may get lost with the words. But the people are very friendly people. um this older woman, she almost made me cry with it. My God. I met her in a village. I have a video of this thing, and she just told me, she's like, I see you like a son, come here, give me a hug and this kind of stuff. And she just got, when I left, because I sat there for a couple of hours and just talked with everybody. When I left, she got all sad. You know what I mean? It was like her son's leaving for America type of thing.
Oh.
Yes, yeah, that really, um, yeah, it was a memorable moment for me for sure. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, people will, they generally like the Sri Lankans. They're, they're not aggressive people. They're very laid back people.
Hmm.
It can get a little bit more pushy in Colombo and in the big cities, but again, we don't spend much time there. In the smaller places, the people are just like sweethearts, and they look at you and they're always smiling. It's that kind of thing.
Okay, well, let me just do a little housekeeping here. Thank you guys for watching and joining us. We are going to be taking a few-week break. I am going to be going to Japan with my family, and Alex is going to Jamaica, and Charlie's got some summer plans as well. I know the next date that I can do it is July 22nd. I'm not sure if Charlie's back on the 22nd or not, but in the meantime, oh, sorry, do you know?
I will in a second, but
Okay.
You wanted, I'm sorry, July 22nd?
22. Yeah, that's the next available Tuesday I have.
July 22.
And you all can scan the QR code up in the corner. Follow me on all our networks, Travel with Lainey, on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, all over the place. And please enter to win our Italian vacation. Just scroll down to the enter to win. And if you put hashtag Travel Talk Tuesday in the comments, get a $50 gift certificate towards any Charlie the Traveler tour, booked through me and my agency anywhere in the world.
I'm all good with that. And the July 20. So I'm sorry. So nothing more for, you said July 22 or June 22?
July. I'm gone from now until July 22.
Well, off the record, thanks for the invitation.
Sorry, I'm taking 10 people to Japan. It's already too expensive.
Jeez. I thought you're nice. Which country do you want to do next time? We still got Morocco. We got Mexico for Cabo. We got Mexico for Yucatan. We got Guatemala, Colombia, Laos, Israel, Jordan, Bolivia.
I don't know. What do you feel like?
Let's do Morocco.
Okay. I like Morocco. Love Morocco. Okay. July 22, join us for Travel Talk Tuesday to discuss Morocco.
Excellent.
All righty, Charlie. It's always a pleasure. And even though we travel, we still work the entire time. So don't stop talking and following. And please email or request your travel quotes. And happy to help you.
I hope I didn't yap off too much today. That I was better.
No, we're good. We've got like 10 minutes till 7. We actually did a really good job this time. Thank you to Evelyn and Alex for our behind the scenes assistance. And we will see y'all on July 22.
I had another funny story, but you.
Oh, okay. You want to go ahead and tell another story?
Yeah. So when I was in Sri Lanka, because I go to these countries and I will do my research and learn before sending customers there. I don't want to make my customers
right.
guinea pigs, right? So I had found a driver. The guy, nice guy, but some of his ideas were just nuts. So basically, I was tired, so I laid down the seat so I can sleep, and I fell asleep. And I wake up, I was like, okay, I'm up in Sri Lanka. And all of a sudden, I start getting this like back massage type of thing. And it's like, what the heck? And I look over, my driver is still like in the driving seat, and I'm getting this massage. So what the heck is this? You know what I mean? And then he's like, I did you a favor. I think I found you a wife. I said, what are you talking about? And I look behind me, and there's like some woman there. I've never seen her before. So like, I guess he wanted to impress me with finding me like a wife or something. I like, what?
He just put somebody in the car with you?
Yeah, he's like, well, I wanted to introduce, like, she's interested in becoming your wife, and she's giving you a massage and stuff. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like,
well, you need a good wife, Charlie.
Well, the camera's on, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut right now. But so I know when to make my jokes, and I know when to shut up. So I'm going to shut up right now. I don't know. I should maybe I should go find that person again.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe I should. I ended up marrying somebody else instead. So, yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again for everything and for joining us. We have 22 episodes to watch in my YouTube channel, and we discuss a different destination every week. So go ahead and look for the next destination that you want to learn all about, and please watch our videos.
Okay.
Thanks, Charlie. I'll see you on July 22.
And thank you for the marital advice. Much appreciated.
Always. I've had 3 marriages. I know it all.
Third time's a charm, girl.
That's right.
Remember, getting married is like dancing tango. You get better with every new partner.
Okay, I can buy into that one. All right, take it away, Alex.